AI is destroying the entertainment industry as we know it. You're listening to us right now, and we're real people, but that's a promise that's becoming increasingly difficult to make these days.
Yeah, and AI is quietly rewriting the rules in all the wrong ways. It's not just a buzzword anymore, it is a crisis.
Yeah, that's why today we're going to explore studios betting big on tech that can generate entire scenes or episodes on demand.
Like Disney's recent billion-dollar deal with OpenAI.
Yeah, and a new startup app called Showrunner. That's the thing that's being called the Netflix of AI. It gives users the ability to create their own AI slop in the form of custom, fully animated shows.
These things aren't just tech demos anymore. They're full on alarm bells for the industry. I mean, we're seeing these
Yeah.
tools that are putting thousands of people out of work so that studios can what, chase efficiency?
Yeah. So while we're diving into it, we're going to try our best to explore the potential upsides of AI's push into the limelight, but we'll be doing a whole lot more to explain why AI's takeover is a real cause for concern about the future of filmmaking.
Which is why we are also going to try and propose some potential solutions, including what you can do at home to keep Skynet from becoming self-aware.
So settle in, buckle up, and let's unpack this. This is the Cast Backstage Banter. Welcome back to the show. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Saris.
And I'm Morgan Elgarden, and we're talking AI.
We're talking AI. And Morgan, you mentioned Disney's deal with OpenAI. Can you explain to the audience
Yeah,
what that is a little bit and talk a little bit about that
it's
situation? It's a big deal.
bullshit, is what it is.
Coming out the gate hot. I love it. All right.
I mean, like, genuinely, I don't know who asked for this, but whoever did, we need to lock them away and throw away the key because this is just such an insult to creators, writers, animators, the people who put their blood, sweat, and tears into telling good stories, and now you can just AI prompt and have a thing. Like
Yeah.
I
But actually explain to the audience what this is. Like what does it allow people to do? Because I this was like a big story for a moment there, but I feel like it was
yeah.
squashed really quickly. So there might be people that are not even familiar with what's going on.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So, I mean, like, it's definitely still a thing. I'm pretty sure Disney is still pursuing it because they are talking about integrating it, or I don't know that they're talking about it broadly speaking in terms of publicity, but I have read Deadline articles and Hollywood Reporter articles about how this is going to be integrated onto the Disney Plus platform, which is picture your favorite show. The one that was talked a lot about when this news first arose was Friends, which is not a Disney property. It was just what was being used as the example because a lot of people are familiar with it. So picture
Sure.
your favorite show.
Great
We'll
show.
take Friends, for
One of my
example.
favorites.
Now, you have something that you want to see in Friends, but isn't actually canon part of the show. Now you can go on to what will in the future be the Disney Plus platform, and you can say, make this episode of Friends. You give it a little bit of a prompt, like say, um, I don't know, I want to see Joey and Chandler get into hot water with the feds. Now you can see that episode. Um, and
This is a little different
it'll
than what
be
this might be a you might have some news that I'm not familiar with because the original deal that I understood was Disney did a like $1 billion deal or some crazy amount of money with OpenAI. OpenAI is the company that has Sora, which is one of those
mhm,
video generating platforms, and they were
mhm,
licensing their properties, like their iconic Disney character cast of characters, Mickey, Minnie, Pluto, Don, all that stuff, all the way
yeah,
down the line, and
mhm,
allowing people to create shorts using their
mhm,
characters, which
yeah,
would then be accessible to other people through Disney Plus. I
Right.
hadn't heard that this was a thing that had moved into live action situations now. Is that part of it now too?
Well, I mean, like it's all wrapped up in the same thing. So, and maybe this is a little bit conspiratorial because Disney made
My
that
tinfoil
deal.
hats on, let's do it.
Disney made that deal with Sora, in my opinion, in order to make a robust system for implementation onto the Disney Plus platform. So, yes, all of that stuff that's being made will be available for you to see on Disney Plus, but isn't necessarily canon stuff that will be, like, I
Which is
guess,
why I thought it was
official
focusing
Disney
on
property.
shorts because it wasn't going to be like, if you like Moana,
You
if you
could
can make a
make,
Moana
right.
short, it could be something that's easy for them to say this is non-canon, where if you're making a full-on Moana movie, that gets muddied up for audience members, but I think it's still a
Well,
problem because you don't
they
have any kind of guardrails for what people are going to make with
They
this
do.
access.
I mean, that's a whole separate issue, especially considering Disney's audience demographic and their
Hmm.
rating. But it is the goal that I am discerning, and maybe again tinfoil hat, but what I think the direction this is going in is like, let's take a show like The Sweet Life on Deck, or an animated show. To your point, let's take like Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch is a good example because the whole premise behind Lilo and Stitch the show is that it follows Lilo and Stitch trying to recapture all of the experiments, all 624, because Stitch is 626 and Reuben we know is with Gantu. Um, they obviously didn't make 624 episodes. So, what this will allow people to do is make those episodes. And they wouldn't be canon in the sense that it's not like Disney stamped, but it would be canon in the sense that they're allowing people to get on the Disney Plus platform and make these episodes for other people to enjoy. And it would be add-ons to the Lilo and Stitch series. So that's
No,
like, I think, the end goal where people can literally make the stuff that they want. And the reason that they licensed it to Sora is for the system to get more robust so that it would be able to create seamlessly in the style of those shows.
now I hope at a minimum, I don't like any of this, but I hope at a minimum that Disney is planning to at least curate this content so not everything everybody makes shows up on Disney Plus, because that seems like it opens a big door to just chaos. And you
Yeah.
have kids that are on that app, you have people that I look at the license, the trademark or copyright trademark just recently expired on Winnie the Pooh, and we've already had 2 Winnie the Pooh horror movies because people can now use that property because the
Right.
trademark is lapsed. If you
Mhm.
give people access to use Disney characters, the first thing that many people are gonna wanna do is put it in a situation that they've never been before, whether that is something graphic, pornographic, horror related. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do to
Whoa,
damage
hold
that
on,
brand, and that
Jason.
seems like
Not
it would be
everyone's mind is in the gutter. Not everyone's
not
mind.
everyone's mind is in the gutter, but plenty of them are. And I feel like there is a whole subset of society that would love to get their hands on these iconic Disney characters just to do oddly provocative things with them. So at minimum, I hope
Yeah.
that Disney is looking at these and saying not everything is going to get pulled through to the app. It's got to go through some sort of
The
curation
thing
process
is,
first. But I don't know if that's the case.
I actually think, and maybe this is my weird slant on it, but I think that Disney is no longer a kids company. It's very, because of all of the different properties that it has acquired, it is producing more mature content, things with heavier themes,
Which is fine.
things
I
with
don't think there's
more
anything wrong
graphic
with that,
content.
but you still have those brands within the Disney banner that are very much associated with children's content. Your Mickey
You do, but
Mouses, your
they can
Pixar
easily
stuff.
I see this. I think that you can easily address it because I see this sort of becoming like you can set up a Netflix for kids account on your Netflix account, and
Sure.
a kid's account is going to have different content on it. Now we can have a whole discussion about whether or not those age restrictions or those kids accounts are effective at what they do, but Disney could easily create like this is Disney Kids and this is Disney's full library.
Which I'm
They
sure
could
they already have
easily
some
do
sort
that.
of thing like that built into the app. They probably have different profiles where you set the age, and then that can help filter some of that stuff out. But the other
So
side of
I
this,
think in that way it becomes less of an issue.
even if you're not concerned about these characters getting viewed by children, it still dilutes the brand, and it still dilutes what our expectations are with that brand. So imagine you pointed to the example of Friends, right? Which is not a
Mhm.
Disney property. So this is not something that would be subject to this, but just to kind of keep consistent with the example. You want to make an episode where Joey and Chandler get caught up with the feds for some reason. So you make that, you put it on a streaming service, and people watch that. Now there's confusion about, did that happen? I don't understand. If you're watching the series for the first time and you watch this random off episode that somebody has made, does that dilute from the series as a whole?
Yeah.
Are you risking turning people away from watching the rest of what you actually constructed and what you intended to be watched as part of the overarching narrative because people have made their own side quests
Yeah.
and changed the functionality of how the story is?
That's an interesting question that actually brings me to what I think will be the reason that the project gets halted, and it's the current AI lawsuits. So one of the big conflicts in the industry right now is that no one has given their consent to their voice likeness or performances being used for these AI generative purposes. So in the instance of
That's
Friends,
that's
none
not
of the
entirely true.
cast of huh?
That's not entirely true. There are some people that have given their consent. There is a company, and I don't remember the name of it, but there's a company that has started a couple of years ago where they have not released their client list, but there are actors in Hollywood that have paid this company to digitize themselves completely in order to
Mhm.
use that because they're hoping that as AI picks up and starts to use generative features, that they're going to license themselves to be used in AI projects. This way, they can get
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking
compensated
about.
as though they're working there. But
Right,
but
that's not
that's
what I'm
still
talking
something that's
about.
going to feed into the AI stuff. That's why it's
No,
not entirely
that's
what you're saying, but it
exactly
is.
that's exactly what people want. So, I'm not familiar with this company that you're talking about, but even if it does exist, what I'm talking about, the reason that this gets killed is no one has given consent to the in perpetuity use of their name, likeness, performance, voice, like Disney licensing out like we'll take Winnie the Pooh, for example. I don't remember who originally did Winnie the Pooh, but Jim Cummings does him now. And Disney has essentially licensed Winnie the Pooh's likeness, including his voice, to Sora in order for people to generate
Mhm.
videos using Winnie the Pooh. Jim Cummings has not given permission to Disney for them to do that. And that's what all these lawsuits are about. Now, let's say Disney went to this company that you're talking about, where there are actors who have given permission for this company specifically to license out their likeness and image. In that instance, the actors are still going to get paid because presumably that company is going to go through some sort of contractual agreement with these companies to figure out how the videos are being used, how their name and their likeness and their voice are being used, and the actors are getting compensated for that. Everything that Sora is generating right now, no one is getting compensated for. Jim Cummings' voice as Winnie the Pooh is being used in all of these generative videos, and he's not seeing a dime. And that's the
Yeah.
problem.
And even if something is to be worked out where, let's say Jim Cummings did authorize his voice to be used in perpetuity for a payment of some sort, that also doesn't filter out the content that's associated with. I mean, in real life, in real actors, they get a script and they can choose to accept or decline it, even when it's based off of, doing a project previously. Now they want to do a legacy sequel or whatever, right? They say, we want to come back and we want to do another installment. An actor can look at it and go, I really loved playing this character the first time. This does not look like a project I want to be associated with because the quality's not there, the script's not there, I don't understand the vision, whatever the reason may be. And you have the choice to decline that, which the studio then has a choice of, do we recast? Do we change? Or do we, write this character out for some reason? And something happens from there. But if you're going to get a lump sum payment to let your likeness be through, even if they're going to say, hey, Jim Cummings, we'll pay you $1 million, whatever the figure would be, and you'll let us use this for this Sora generated something, it
Mm.
also could degrade his work because people know the voice and he may not be proud of the content that is associated with it.
But that's like basically what these lawsuits are. It's like informed consent. And that's also just generally the problem with AI. I have to be honest, if I was ever presented a contract of that uh type, I don't know that I would ever sign it because for all of the reasons that you are saying, because
Yeah,
um it's because you don't know what's going to be created, and once you sign
yeah.
over the rights to that type of
Then they're gone.
usage, you've signed it over, because all of these contracts currently are in perpetuity. It's not like
Yeah.
I'm signing it this today for 2-year usage, and then after 2 years they have to stop using it. Like that's none of these
Which,
contracts are framed that way.
and I know we talked before about actors who have licensed their vocals, like James Earl Jones. He authorized Disney to use his vocals for Darth Vader. He has now passed, so the money gets paid to his estate for doing so. And I still stand by, if an actor wants to make that decision, as long as they're informed and they know what risks are associated and they're choosing for that, that is their prerogative. But I do think it is hard for younger actors and newer actors that are trying to establish themselves in the industry and have a long career ahead of them to know where that path is going to go. And you run a huge risk of maybe tainting your career because anything you've licensed out is now associated with something that you don't want it to be associated with.
It's
Did
also
you did
though
you hear what Bob Iger said about why they're doing this?
I mean, I heard him say a lot of different things. What specifically are you
Fair.
referring to?
Bob Iger, who is the CEO of Disney, he claims that this is a better way for them to control what their properties are being used for,
Yeah, that's
which I
BS. I
I'm
call
not buying
BS on the
either.
whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, from one point, I guess I can kind of understand that you're going to say, look, if you can't beat them, join them, and maybe at least you could reap some of the benefits of it. But I don't like this approach at all, and I don't think that you're going to get better outcomes because now you're in on the whole thing. Like, that doesn't seem like it's gonna make for more improved content. At best,
Yeah.
you're getting curated content, but what stops somebody from going into Sora outside of Disney Plus or going to another, Nana Banana Pro and doing the same thing? It's the same thing. It's still gonna be out there. The risk of potential damage to your brand is still there. You're just allowing it somewhere. It's like being one of those parents that's like, "It's okay if you drink as long as you stay in the house." They're still underage kids. Not a good idea. Wrong is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't necessarily want to get into the whole parenting theory of it, but I think it is largely
That
BS. I don't think that the
was an
logic works out.
analogy. I'm not expecting you to go over your personal thoughts on parenting. I was just creating
Hey
the
man,
analogy for people
I'm
to
sure
understand.
there are moms and dads who watch this, and I'm sure there are moms and dads out there that are currently letting their underage kids drink. And I'm just saying, I'm not making a judgment call on that front. I'm just saying the whole thing reeks and does not hold up logically. It is not logically coherent, the argument that's being made. It's just,
Fair.
yeah.
So this seems like it's not a good idea. I feel like Disney is just throwing things at a wall to see what sticks and see if they can just increase profits somewhere because they could be the first ones to claim that they have functionality like this. And what I'm afraid of is that this is going to be something we're going to see more of. We're going to see it next with Amazon or with Netflix or with Paramount Plus, and everyone's going to find their little AI generated companies or programs. They're going to partner up with them, and then we're going to see this slop everywhere. Because I'm sure you've been on social media lately. AI slop is everywhere, and it's not getting better. It's visually
Yeah.
better, but it is still garbage. It is brain rot garbage,
Well,
and I hate it
here's the
for it.
thing.
Hate
Here's the
it.
thing. Here's the thing. Is it actually garbage? That's like my
Yes.
genuine question because
Yes.
we were just talking about, though, in the intro of the video that it's getting harder to distinguish between what is AI and what is not AI. And originally, that term AI
Visually,
slop
yes.
was because it was evident that this content was filled with flaws. And the better it gets, and the harder it is to distinguish between reality and AI, the less that term I actually think holds any weight. Because if you can't tell between something that was legitimately filmed with a cast and crew of people and something that was made with AI, and the two could seemingly blend together, then it's not slop anymore. Now it's deceptive cinema.
No, it's still slop, and I'll tell you why. It's getting better visually, and it is harder to distinguish real from AI now. But the thing that AI can't do is accidentally create something beautiful, right? It can look at what's trending, it can look at what people are searching for or interested in, and it can make a guess at to what's going to be successful. But humans can be doing something completely unrelated and spawn an idea of how to translate that into art. So you could be watching a commercial about
Sure.
building a house and you think, well, you know what? An allegory of building a house could be a really interesting way to frame a narrative about personal growth. And it can trigger a new idea in a way that would never happen. It's just an accidental creation of artistic expression. And AI can't do that because it's only
Yeah.
looking at what trends are. I don't know that it's ever going to be able to do that because it has to take pre-formulated paths. It can get better at predictions and hit on certain things sometimes, but it can't just do it out of some kind of serendipitous
Well,
event.
I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat back on and say that it will absolutely be a future that we know, that we will see. Maybe not in our lifetime, but it is a future that I think is possible because that's the Skynet doomsday alarm bell. And
Mhm.
listen, I've heard a lot of these tech bros talk about the limitations of AI, and some of
First of
them
all, I just want
say
to say spot on impression. Well done.
uh,
Great impression.
some of
Tech
them
bros. Yeah. Okay.
some of them are saying that there are limitations on the tech that will keep AI from achieving Skynet consciousness. But there are others that just straight up come out and say, yeah, I mean, like, AI is going to be the end of the world, but let's enjoy it while we can. Like,
Do
it's
you
just
know,
so, there are such wildly differing perspectives on what AI can achieve.
here's here's a legitimate threat. And this goes back to the slop thing. Do you know that right now there is a company, I can't remember the name, it is four people, it employs four people. It's four people that work at this company, and they have created an
Like,
AI.
four,
Four people.
one, two, three, four.
Yes, four individual people that work for this company that have created an AI to produce podcasts, just like what you and I are doing. Audio
Right.
only, I think, for now, but they have podcasts. The AI creates hosts, they create the whole show, they produce it, and it is producing 3,000 episodes a week currently.
It's a
3,000
lot.
episodes a week. Four people producing 3,000 episodes a week. There is
Hmm.
no way to physically listen to all of those to see what content is going out. They're just throwing it out there, and it's produced
Hmm.
so cheaply. It's cost them about like 1 to 2 cents well, let's say it costs $1 per episode, which I think that's even higher than what they quoted. But let's say it's $1 per episode. They already know how to produce those in mass production and tackle or tie ads to it. So every single one is bringing in some sort of revenue. No matter even if only 50 people watch it, there's no incentive to make quality behind that because it is all quantity based. The more they produce, even if you only get a couple of people, you get 2 people that listen to it, you've already made your money back. So the more they create, the more money they make. And where it becomes a
Yeah.
problem, and this is regardless of whether it's video or audio, when you flood the market with this nonsensical garbage, you don't find it becomes a larger and larger percentage of what's out there. And your chances of finding real human made content becomes
Mhm.
less and less. You think about the internet right now, and we go to Google and anything we search for, we get all those pages. How often do you go to page 2? Never, right? You click something on the
Oh,
first page of the search result.
depends. Depends.
Very rarely, if ever. Nobody's going to pages 3, 4, 5. Never. And that's just what's on the Google search. We see a fraction of the internet every day. The internet is so much bigger than anything any of us have ever seen, and it keeps growing. So we keep finding this like little piece of it. And as AI slop keeps making the pool bigger and bigger with just its garbage, it's getting harder and harder to find anything but its garbage. So it's going to push out anything of quality. And we're just going to be stuck watching the nonsensical 6, 7 brain rot garbage that happens with everything all the time.
Hey, there's I mean, like, I don't disagree with you, but this is, I think this is why my stance is that it's not AI slop anymore. Because
And absolutely.
if, well, I mean, you'd have to make an actual case as to what makes it slop, because the perspective that I'm coming from is that
No
it
pursuit of
was
quality.
very.
That is the case. It's a quantity driven product. There is no pursuit of quality, and it is
I
pushing
mean,
quality out.
what
That
do you
is
mean by
absolutely
quality?
slop.
What do you mean by quality,
Quality,
though? Because movies like
intention,
Jackass exist.
and I don't. I mean,
I find it
it's
very,
not my
and you're
cup of
right.
tea.
And you're right. 6-7 is something that exists. There's human-made brain rot. So like what do you mean
Sure,
by quality? R- AI slop in the past has been a term to indicate that something is very obviously made by AI. There are issues with it in terms of like how many fingers are on a person's hand, or this person very clearly does this weird warped backflip because it's not a
it's.
real person, and weird contortions, and that's not the case anymore. So it's not slop anymore. It's
I
harder to
think you are.
distinguish that it's made by a machine.
I think you're focusing on the visual of it more than the actual content of it because I consider slop anything that is just garbage as far as is there value to it as somebody who's taking it
What do you
in.
mean by
So if you're going to
value,
listen
though?
to value as in like there's benefit to it. So if you're just watching nonsensical trash for a while, you maybe you can say, sure, I get a moment of laughter out of watching the slop. Okay.
That's value.
You can, if you're going to say there's value to that, sure, there's value to that. Is that the same as the value as the hour-long video essay on YouTube where somebody has done the research, given a viewpoint on something, has based up with facts, given you something to think about, and you walk away with more information. You can say there's value to both if you really want to stretch the idea of what value is, but you cannot argue that some has more value than the other because
You
the
absolutely
slop is
can.
just you can't because there's
You
nobody that's
absolutely
that's
can.
quality checking this stuff. If you're producing 3,000 episodes a week and you're just letting it rip, you have no idea what's in there. It doesn't even have to be
Ye-
factual or any. It could be total. It could be an hour of nonsense made up. Where's the value
Yeah.
in that?
I guess this is where we get into, there are people quality checking these things. The audience.
There's not. That's
Everyone
literally
who gets
what it is. There's
everyone
not.
who gets on the internet every single day is are the quality control people. This is where you at
You
home
have a lot of
can
faith
do
in
something.
humanity, man. A lot of
Look,
faith.
we said at the beginning that we were going to lobby solutions. This
Sure.
this is where you at home have a responsibility to be checking the content that you are consuming. and you should be actively like downvoting and letting people know your discontent with AI content because Spotify very recently, there's a creator that I follow on Instagram, and she talks about the landscape on Spotify. And this is what becomes very scary about where AI is going. Almost 90% of the new music that is being posted on Spotify every day is AI music. And you as a listener don't actually know that it's AI music because we can't tell the difference anymore. At a glance or at a listen, you can't hear or know that it's AI. You have to go to the creator page and hopefully it's listed in the description of the video or on the page that it's AI music, but there's no way to actually discern that it's AI. And this is what
Does
I'm
that
talking about, that it's like
does that make a
not
difference
AI
to you?
slop anymore.
Does that make a difference to you, like, personally? Does it make a difference to you if you know a song is made by people or if it's not made by people?
To me, it makes a difference,
Yeah.
but to some other people, it might not make a difference. To the
And
people who
well,
it
but I'm
does
curious,
matter
why does it
to,
make a difference to you? Like, what does it mean to you? Why does it make a difference to you if it is made by people or if it's made by AI?
yeah, so it's a very personal relationship for me. When I engage with any kind of media, whether that's a song or a music video or a movie or a book or poetry, whatever medium I'm choosing to engage with, dance, it's a personal connection that I am building with other people who are experiencing the same thing and the creator who is sharing their experience. And that's the linchpin of it. The creator who made it is sharing something about the world with you. It's one of the reasons I love Hayao Miyazaki's work because it's visceral in the sense that you are getting a a very specific perspective on the world, and it's trying to teach you something either about that person or about the world and how they see it. And with a machine, you know that that connection isn't there because the machine doesn't experience anything. They're not relaying any kind of experience to you. And this is a very ethereal idea that I know a lot of people don't resonate with. Like I'm talking about it now, and I already know that there are people in the comments like this is bullshit, AI can do that. If that makes you happy, continue watching AI. Just know that it's going to continue diluting the stories that are being told, and it will make it harder for us to connect with each other as humans.
Yep. I agree, and I think that there is a value to the fact that somebody put that together because they thought it would be interesting. It was created, it was formulated. And I appreciate the fact that somebody puts work into something, especially with music. Hearing just random noises generated by an AI, even if it sounds good on the surface level, does not hit the same way for me. I won't listen. I mean, anything I find that I know is AI music, I won't listen to it because I don't see the point. There's no a music is supposed to be a capture of an emotion, and that's not there. It could be simulated, but
The
it's
thing
not
is
real.
though, the thing is though, like if you explore Spotify's, like Spotify has a thing on there where it's like Discover Weekly or Discover New Music.
Yeah, and you don't always know.
90% of the stuff that's being suggested to
Well,
you is not
and
a real music.
that's why some of these platforms are talking about how to create a, what do they call it? Like an AI fingerprint for music. This way
Hmm.
you can identify it because there are people that don't care, and I get that. I wish that they did because I think it's a shame.
Even the
Not only
people,
because it
this is the
doesn't have
scary
that, but
thing.
also it's stealing stuff from other people. I mean, in
Well,
order
this
to
is, but
form in order to
this is
form
this.
that song, it has to look at real creators, take their music, leverage that to create that. So why are we just giving some computer our listens and letting them build money for somebody who is sitting behind a desk just prompting one
Yeah,
script
I
and then
mean,
going?
There's
versus the actual
definitely
people that made the hard work, blood, sweat, and tears to put that in there from a real experience.
I mean, like for starters, the people who don't care about this don't care about that argument of it. They're like dance monkey dance people. They don't care. I have an issue with the fact that it is technically stealing, but the real problem is that even the people who do care, like me, are getting fooled. I have inadvertently listened to AI music, thought it was pretty decent music, and then found out later that it was AI music. And
And
listen,
doesn't that make you
I'm not a
feel like you were
particular
duped? Like, doesn't that, I
yes.
don't know, like,
Yes, I was
that makes me
100%
feel,
duped.
yeah, but like, doesn't it make you feel gross, like you were tricked? Because that's the way I
Yes.
feel. And
Yes,
when I
but the
watch,
the thing is, how do you avoid it when 90% of what's being served to you is that content? That's my point. This is what you can do at home is you can be more attentive. And I have been. Like I don't
sure,
use the Spotify Discover function anymore because I'm like, well, if it's going to suggest stuff that I know are AI, even if I can't tell that it's AI from listening to it, like you as a consumer now have to be more involved with how you engage with the internet. And most people don't want to hear that. Most people get on the internet because they want to just be lazy and they want stuff just served to them on a silver
yeah.
platter. And like genuinely, there's no way to combat that. There just isn't. Like please
When
stop being please stop being lazy. Like how do you combat that?
when my mother is very much into YouTube now. Like she just got into YouTube a year ago. Like this is a new thing for her. And there's been several times where she sees a video and she'll look at it and it'll be like there was one she saw of like a small elephant. It looked like a really teeny tiny elephant. And she's like, "Oh, it's so cute. Why is it so small? Is something wrong with it?" And she has real emotional reaction to what she's seeing because she is empathizing with this thing that she thinks has some sort of birth defect. And she's like, "Oh, it's so cute. Oh, I hope it's okay. I hope it, you think it'll last? You think it'll live a long time? Like, how does it function like that?" And I look at this and in a split second, I know it's AI. I know it's not real. The whole thing. I can tell because I at least have been on the internet long enough that I can see the differences still. For her, she thinks it's real. And that makes me angry. Like, this is somebody who is tricking my relative, my loved one, into thinking something and feeling something that's not there. When you watch a movie or you listen to a real song, you know that what the movie is presenting you is a creation. It could be about real events. It could be, based on a true story. It could be completely fabricated, but you know going into it that it is a movie. It is not presented to you as fact verbatim. AI tries to present itself as something that it is not. And that bothers me. That's like if you watched a documentary about how to improve your health and you watch this whole hour-long documentary and it's like all you got to do is put some olive oil behind your ears every night and you'll live to be 100. You're like, oh, I really buy into this. And then you immediately leave whatever video and find out that all of it was just made up and you were duped. And then
Yeah.
what? You feel stupid, right? You feel stupid because you were tricked by something that you should have known better of. And that's how AI videos make me feel. It feels like they are insulting my intelligence because they're like, hey, you'll fall for this garbage. I don't care for it at all. But
I
I want
think
to
that
shift gears a second. Oh, sorry, go. You have one final point?
yeah, I think that we're on the same page. The problem is that the only people who are on that page are other creatives. And I think the real hurdle that we have is how do we en masse convince people that it's problematic? And it's hard because there's even infighting within creatives because there's a camp of people. There's three camps of people as far as I can tell. There are people like me who are considered extremist, where my opinion is we should all collectively stop using it and send a collective message to tech companies that it's not worth investing in this technology because we're not going to use it. That is considered an extreme perspective. The two reasonable camps of people are the ones like the James Camerons of the world that believe that AI has a place in the workplace and there's a way to leverage it um, ethically. I disagree. But the other camp of people is the camp of people that basically recognize that the majority of people, meaning the non creatives, don't care. They just have to, it just has to be good enough to fool you. And people are happy to be fooled because when they're engaging with media, they want to just shut off their brain. They want to just
Sure.
take in whatever you're serving to them. And as long as I can do that, then it's Machiavellian. The ends justify the means. If I give the audience what they want, it doesn't matter how I achieve that means. And this is considered a reasonable camp of people. Me, I guess, being in the extremist camp of people, hugely disagree. I think we should all just say no to AI. And yeah, I mean, like it's just wild that there are people who consider using AI in any legitimate fashion.
So shifting gears a bit, I want to talk about Showrunner, which I believe you said you had not heard of before. This is something I learned
No,
about
no, no. I've heard of
only
it.
a
I
few
just
days
don't
ago.
really know the ins and outs of it.
Okay. So it's a startup company where basically it's an AI platform where you can create your own animated shows. You give it a prompt, you wait a few minutes, and it has given you your own show. It can
Hmm.
emulate existing shows, or you can create your own show from scratch. And it is still in a early beta stage, but it's already been used in several places by people for more than just a testing purpose. The idea is that if you want something, you can just create it and watch yourself. You can be your own broadcast system. So if I'm a big South Park fan and I would like to see myself show up in South Park and interact with all the characters, and we're going to go on a wacky adventure where we head off to the moon, I can put all these prompts in there and it will make me an episode that looks like South Park using South Park characters and putting me as a South Park character in there and give me all that.
Mm,
Now, there are
okay.
obviously the very easy arguments and problems with the fact that you are now taking other people's work. But there's a bigger problem that I see, which is why does anybody care? Outside of the person that's creating it, nobody wants to see that episode. Who wants to watch? It's like when you tell
Uh,
people you have a dream. I had a dream last night where I was running in bubblegum. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your dream. It's not a shared experience. So we're going to make your own episodes of stuff because you're like, you know what? I think the Game of Thrones episode should have gone this way. Let me make that. And you watch it yourself. And you're like, that was great. I really like the way that I wrote Game of Thrones. Then you tell
uh-huh.
somebody else about it. They're like, I don't care. Whatever you did is fine. I think it's
Well,
a really interesting novel idea,
the
but long term, it is really problematic for just watering down everything within any kind of pop culture medium.
I mean, I agree with that last point that you made, but it sounds like the appeal to Showrunner is that I can subscribe and I can make episodes of stuff that I want to see. If
Sure.
that means that I'm in it,
But
then cool. But like, I don't think the
why
idea
does that?
is that I make a thing that is for other people. It's a platform made for me so that I can make the stuff that I want, which is
So let's
an interesting
let's say
idea.
your favorite show is. We've talked a lot about Stranger Things lately, so I'll just say Stranger Things. Let's say Stranger Things,
My favorite
you
show
like
is,
the
in fact,
finale.
Stranger Things, guys. Everything that you've heard in previous episodes is factually false. I love Stranger Things. Can you tell from my face?
It's a great face. Um, so let's say you wanted a different outcome from Stranger Things. You wanted Mike to die because that was like you were on the Mike
I
needs
did
to
want
die
that's
bandwagon.
gonna be that's gonna come back in every episode now, I feel. I did indeed
When we
want Mike to die.
when we make T-shirts one day, it'll be Mike should have died. Anyway, so you thought Mike should have died in the finale. So you make this episode for Mike. Do you feel vindicated then? Because you know it didn't happen. The real show, the canon, he's still alive. So what does
I don't
that
know.
matter?
I feel
You got
like
to witness it, but it doesn't.
I feel like
For
there's
me,
some
like, that
sort of
doesn't.
vindictive pleasure about it. I'm not that type of person, but I know people like that. There's some sort of vindication that can happen in that scenario. I also know, and we talked about this in our Stranger Things episode, but I'm seeing a lot of people were not happy with the finale. And
Sure.
apparently in the episode, this is a slight tangent, but apparently in the documentary that came out, the Duffer Brothers came out and said that they had no idea where the finale was going. Apparently they were filming and the script
That's what I
wasn't done.
heard.
So I feel like something like this could provide the closure that people were looking for in the finale. Now, does that
But
make it canon? I don't think so, but it might
so
make it
what does it
feel
matter if it's
better.
not
I don't know.
I mean, people write fan fiction to Star Wars all the time, and it has its market, and I'm not saying that there aren't anybody that would enjoy remaking an episode in, their own personal way, but as a whole, is that really I think there's a novelty to it, but after that, like, after that, it's like, "Alright, did you see Bill's version of the end of Stranger Things? Man,
It's
he had Homer Simpson show up." Like, good
it
for
is
Bill's
it
version,
is a
like, to me, that doesn't make any
novelty.
difference.
It is a novelty, but it strangely is a novelty that will never not be like an interesting or fun novelty because there will always be new shows. You will almost assuredly be disappointed by the ending of a future show, and you'll be able to fix it with Showrunner. I'm not sure I really
You're
understand
not
what your point is because
because you're not
yes,
really
it's not
fixing it.
canon.
You're not really fixing it.
It's
It's
fan
what
fiction
happened,
like any other
happened.
fan fiction.
Okay. So, I would have more understanding if you could then take that and then run with it to produce your own version of something like, what was that, I think Twilight originally started off as fan fiction for a different property, and then it turned it like, something like that. Okay, you could take your own thing and turn it into your own entity after that, but just to make your own personal something or other, I think that would be a fun idea at a party, but I don't think that's long-term interesting. I wanna know how the story ends, whether it's good or bad, like, if I'm following a show, I'm following the show. When I'm rewriting it as I want to, it's fun to theorize about it or say, like, I would have done it, whatever. And I like talking with
Yeah.
people like that. But if I make that, it's interesting to me. The one time I watch it, what am I gonna do? Watch it again? Remember that one episode I made where it wasn't actually what happened, but had me in it. So I guess I'll watch that
So
on loop. That
I
seems
mean,
crazy to me.
I think that we're sort of walking along the edge of fan fiction territory and like why people like fan fiction. And I've never written fan fiction. I've never even really read fan fiction. I am not a fan fiction fan. However, there is a huge community of people who get into fan fiction, more specifically to whatever property or IP it is that they are interested in. There's probably tons of Stranger Things fan fiction. To your point, there's
Sure.
tons of Twilight fan fiction, Harry Potter, whatever, take your pick, Star Wars. And my understanding of fan fiction is if I write it, I am writing it for myself in the same way that if I create something as a creator, like as an actor and a writer, if I write a story, I'm writing that for me. Like, yes, I eventually have dreams of sharing that with an audience, and that's the same drive that people who write fan fiction have. They write it for themselves so that they can write the story that they see in their head, and then they share it with their
But
community of
even
fan
that
fiction
though,
fans.
even that in a traditional fan fiction situation, you have somebody that is putting the time, effort, and work ethic in to create this alternative narrative. There's
Mhm.
hours, days, months, years of work that go into that, and you can walk away from that and think like, "You know what? That's not canon, but I can appreciate all the effort that was put into this." It's a fun thing to think about, and it's limited to what you can see, to the people that are willing to put that work in. When you're talking about an app where you just put in a prompt and it spits it out 2 minutes later, we are going to be flooded with alternate versions of everything, and I think it
Yeah.
dilutes how interesting it is. If every single person you knew had a Stranger Things finale alternative episode for you to watch. How many of those do you want to get through before you're like, all right, I get it. We wanted something else. Or
I mean,
you
like,
watch a couple and you're
it
like, I'm
will
done. I don't need to keep doing this.
I think it makes fan fiction more accessible, and I put that in quotes very loosely because there is an argument that is being made online that I see quite often about how AI makes art accessible to people who are not good at art. And the counter to that is always, so get good at art. And there'll be like people who stitch these videos with like armless violinists and
Yeah.
blind painters and deaf musicians. Like whatever your obstacle is, you can become good at a thing. And so that's why I put it loosely in quotes because it will make it like more accessible, quote unquote, to people, meaning
But
anyone can hop on it
that's
and
why
type
it's
in a
art, is
prompt.
because somebody had to put the work into it to be good
Yeah,
at it.
you and I get that. But obviously there are people on the other side of the argument because there are people
I
who
just
make the
yes.
argument that AI makes art accessible to them.
But the bell that
So,
I'm trying to ring now is that people don't realize when they're on that side of the argument that
yeah.
once they get this thing that they don't think is a big deal, like, oh, who cares? And everybody can make it. It makes it more accessible. But once you see what that means and how now nothing has value anymore, nothing is special. Anybody can make anything, then what's the point of any of it? It does
Yeah.
not matter anymore because I can make the same thing that anybody else can. So my thing is not special. That's not
I
art
mean,
anymore. Now it's
you're
just
poking
whatever else.
you're poking at the philosophical question of what is art, which that we can
I'm poking at the
discuss, but
reality of what art
that is a
is.
whole separate episode.
Even if you want to exclude the word art from that, supply and demand, right? When you have a lot of something, the demand of something goes down. It is basic economics. So when you apply that to any sort of media, the
Well,
more you have it,
that's
look
actually
at I'll point
that's
again to
actually
Star
not
Wars because
that's not 100%. Wait, that's
Wh-
not true though. Like
what's not true?
if you have a lot of supply of something, that doesn't mean the demand goes down. It just means that you
The
may have an
value goes down.
overabundance. The value goes
Yes.
down. But the reason that I bring that up very specifically is because I don't think that by flooding the supply, the demand is going to go down. I actually think you're going to see a rise in demand. People are going to
The
want it
value will go
more.
down. When the value goes down,
Sure, the
then the
value
demand
will
starts
go
to go
down,
with it.
but
It
I think people are still going to want it. That's why people are so heavily invested in
look,
AI.
I'll point again to the Star Wars thing. I'll point to Marvel. These are both franchises that were highest of highs for a while. Disney decided that they were going to make as much content as possible, started pumping out show after show after show after show, throwing any kind of movie in there. And people are like, I don't like this. This isn't what I signed up for these for. And those are still
Mhm.
professional writers. So you think that somebody who's just typing in a couple sentences into a thing are going to do a better job? You might get the diamonds in the rough where somebody has a really great idea, is going to throw a couple extra prompts in there, and maybe it's a novel presentation of something, but as a whole, the quality is going to dip so much because it's just everywhere. And that just dilutes everything across the board. And it's not
Yeah.
all these people that are saying, hey, I get to be an artist too. One, you don't. You get to be at best an art director because you're not creating the thing. You're just giving the guidance to something that's doing it, which
Sure.
if you were to go watch a movie and you see on there somebody that says, the artist, that's the person that made it. There's no art director that, yeah, had to review what they did, say, hey, fix that there, do that there, add this, take away that. But the artist is still credited as the artist. The person who gave the direction is not credited as the artist. So I'm sorry, no AI artist exists. At best, you're an AI art director.
Jason's coming out at everybody in the
I'm coming at
comments.
everybody. But I'm not wrong though. I would happily admit if I think that there's room for, but that's true. The artist is the person who paints the thing.
Get in the
You don't
comments,
credit.
guys. Get in the comments. Come after Jason. Let us know what you think. Do you think let us know where you fall. Are you in the camp of creatives that believe that this is truly detrimental? Well, I guess Let us know if you're in the extremist camp with Morgan and think that AI is just detrimental across the board, or if you fall somewhere in the middle. I'd be curious
Look,
to know where everybody.
I do not think that AI as an entire broad stroke is a bad thing. I think there are plenty of good
Wow.
uses for AI. I think that AI in the form of organization, summary, trying to, there's lots of things that you can help streamline processes for with AI. Fine. When it starts getting into generative AI, where it's one, robbing other people's work because it has to pull from their experiences, which they did not give permission for, that's a problem. And two, when it gives us the platform to just create low quality anything, that's bad too. It's bad for all of us. I mean, we're talking putting actual writers out of business. So now the stuff that we have to compare to,
Yeah.
that's gone. We're talking about putting actual actors out of business, the people that we give awards to because we think that it's so great how they drew from other people's experiences and research and all their time and dedication to the craft to give us an emotion as we watch them. Gone. I mean, why do we care if a machine does it? The whole value is the fact that a person had to get so good at something that they did this. That's awesome. So I don't like where this trend is going. But
I
if we
think
want to try
that
to solve it, because I did promise we were going to try to solve it, I'm going to
I don't
propose a
know.
solution.
I feel like we that ship has sailed because you're standing up in front of all these people and you're like, "We need to fix the problem," but you're also like, "But there are good uses to it, but we need to fix the
I because I think that AI is two different forms. You have regular AI and you have generative AI, and a generative AI is the problem. Traditional AI is not. Like I don't care that
I don't
my
know.
video game can use AI in order to to make my enemies smarter when I'm playing Call of Duty. Like that doesn't bother me. I don't like that PlayStation is trying to add an AI to the console to make it play the game for you. Like, what in the world is that? You spend
I
six
think you're
hundred dollars on a
drawing
PS6 and then all of a sudden it's gonna play for you because it got hard. Like, why is that helping us? That's not helping
Yeah,
us.
my opinion is that you're drawing arbitrary lines and there isn't a rule that you can apply that would allow us to know what is good AI and what is bad AI. So that's why I think, and because everybody has such differing opinions, you're never
Disagree.
going to land on a rule that will be this is good and that is bad, which is why it's
First of
all
all,
bad.
I find it hilarious that you are the AI extremist, and I feel like you've spent more time defending AI than I have in this episode.
I have to have a
But
balanced opinion, Jason.
I, I'm floored. But I do think that there is a line that you can draw, and here's what I propose. The line I think that we can draw now is when AI is using other people's work. And that's not an original idea, but I do think that we need to take a hard line in the sand to say, if you're using somebody else's work, it should be from a database that has gotten a licensed bulk of that work to pull from. So when you look at streaming services like a Netflix or an Amazon or an HBO Max, whatever, you have content that's on there. All that's been licensed from other places or created in house. AI models should do the same thing. They should have their
Hmm.
bank of information to pull from. Anything that's in that bank is getting licensed from the original source. And what that deal looks like, they can work out with them, whether that's in perpetuity or for an X amount of time. Netflix rotates movies in and out because sometimes they have access to it and sometimes they don't. AI systems should be the same way. Their models should be based off of a bank that they've gotten permission to use, whether those are images, text, whatever. That helps solve that problem. The creators get paid for it, and now you can at least say, if we're doing this, we're not stealing stuff from people. So, my call to action for anybody who feels as passionate about this as I do is make yourself heard. Start talking about it places about how we should take action like that. Write your senator. And I know that's a stupid thing that people say because nobody actually does it, but it is something. If we write to our
I do.
Congress, write to
Hey,
our senators, tell them
I
that
write
we
my
want
senator.
something
What are you talking? I write my
good,
representatives. I write my
good.
representatives all the time. That's how you affect change. This is
This
a
is the
whole
time
separate
to
thing.
do it. We are on the cusp. Like this is now, like
Yeah.
before, because if we don't do it now, AI is going to get into place and then it's going to be harder to walk it back. It's going to be too big to stop.
It's
We have to
already the
do it
thing
now.
is, I think we're already past the point of no return. So,
You know what?
I still think that you should do what you can, but I think we've already screwed ourselves. Like, this is the
You know
world
what the
now. Good
you know
job,
what the
guys.
funny part is? So ChatGPT, I don't know if you know this, but ChatGPT was an accident. At least as we know right now, it was an accident.
Define.
OpenAI created ChatGPT as like a proof of concept because they were going to apply it to different things for like just for recovering searches and that sort of thing. And when they showed it to people at tech demos, everyone's like,
Mhm.
"This is awesome!" And they're like, "I guess we're a company that does this now because people really like the fact that you can throw anything at ChatGPT and it can spit it back at you and have a conversation."
Mhm.
And the fact of the matter is that it grew so fast, so much that it is unprofitable for them to sustain right now. So while they need people to keep using it, it's costing them every time somebody uses it. Like they are underwater until like and it could fail. And the way it could fail, imagine if everybody coordinated a day where everyone's just going to use ChatGPT like crazy at the same time. It would be catastrophic for them to have to figure out how to process all those inquiries simultaneously. That's
I mean,
wild to me. That's wild to me that they're in an underwater model that costs more to run than it does to serve the content, and
I
using
haven't,
it could be
I
its own
haven't,
downfall.
I mean, like, it could be. I actually, this is something that I've briefly looked into and I don't know the numbers of, but I actually haven't heard a whole lot of supporting argument that this is a losing proposition for these tech companies because if it if the numbers really didn't add up in that way, then the very logical question of why do they continue to funnel billions of dollars into it comes up. And there's no way to square that because if they really were at such a loss, then the correct business move would be to stop investing at least. So
Uh,
I don't know
so
how you square that.
so right now, and this is this is a little bit of departure from our conversation, but a lot of people associate ChatGPT with like a search engine, like they compare it to Google because they're saying, hey,
Mhm.
you can ask it questions, it gives you information. But it's actually more and more like a social media company than it is a search engine. Google wants you to get on and get off. And it even, I mean, even when you search stuff, it tells you this gave you a result back in 0.4 seconds or whatever it is, because that's the whole thing. They take what you search for, they sell ads on it, and that's where they make money. With ChatGPT, they are learning about the user and they're learning about the interaction. So they are trying to keep you on the platform as long as possible and hoping that the conversations you have give them demographic information that they can then sell off in different ways. So their model is yes, we want you on here, but it is not cost effective, but they are selling the data elsewhere and hoping that eventually it turns around. So they are trying to offset that underwater bridge by owning more of the process. So they are building like a browser. I don't know if that's out yet, but they're building a browser. This way it keeps you in your stuff. So while you're using the internet, they could pull that data without you having to run the costly actual chat GPT interaction. They are likely going to go into other devices at some point because they're trying to put that wherever they went, they can to pull the data that they need to then turn into money down the road. But everybody
It's
is on this
crazy.
AI kick right now. Everybody's so like companies and executives are all so excited about it that if you don't have it, you feel like you're behind. So everyone is paying just to keep them afloat. So this way they have
Yeah.
access to the large language models.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's crazy how much people don't care about their privacy. And these are the same people who whine about, like, being in somebody's video in public. So it's just crazy. They, like, if you really cared, then you would get off these technologies because you're right. They're taking your information and they're selling it. And I don't use ChatGPT, so I don't know, but I imagine when you go to the website, you have to agree to terms and conditions and a privacy policy. So it's not really like they're hoodwinking you because if you're just clicking a
No.
box in order to use it, then you don't really care about your privacy. So
and it keeps tabs on all the things you asked too. Like it wants to know like trends in what you do from interaction to interaction. So it's interesting. But if you don't like it pulling from stuff, I do think this is one of those things that you need to write Congress now, because this is going to be something that comes up for legislation relatively soon. And if
Yeah.
people know that the general public is not happy about certain aspects of this, that's a great time for them to put in framework like, look, you have to define boundaries of where you get this information from, and the information you're pulling from needs to be licensed in order to give people their appropriate compensation. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know what your thoughts are. We've definitely been all over the map. We tried to keep it specific to film and TV because that's our area of expertise, but this is
Yeah.
definitely permeating all of life. And I'll be honest with you, wake me up when the robots are doing my laundry so that I have more time to do my poetry instead
Have
of the robots doing my poetry.
have you
That's
have
like
you
where
seen the
I'm at.
videos of that robot? I forget who made somebody made some kind of robot that's supposed to do those things, but it's like always failing. And people
Yeah.
post videos of it like
It
falling
can't like
over,
load the dishwasher or sweep
just
the
slams in.
patio. Like it
It's
can't do
fantastic.
any of that crap.
Do you want to do a quick crispy trivia before we get out of here?
Crispy trivia.
Woo!
Crispy trivia. Crispy trivia. We
So
gotta make
I'll
like a
give you.
jingle.
I agree. We need like a splash page and like a jingle and some fun like game show music. But
If
this
there are
week's
any
crispy
music writers
trivia,
out there that would like to make a crispy trivia jingle and let us use
for
it, let
sure.
us know.
Yeah, we'll give you credit and all that stuff. We'll pop your name on there, tell people to come check you out if you
No
join.
AI jingles.
That that's a fair point. Good qualifier. This week's crispy trivia is actually about AI, but not in the sense that we've been talking about it, because that wasn't exactly a quiz. So this is more about films that involve some sort of character or AI
Oh
theme to
man.
it, and we'll
We're
see
about to
your knowledge.
find out all of the stuff that have hoodwinked Morgan in the recent past, aren't we?
Well, there's also the whole thing that you don't tend to watch a ton of movies, so you
I
may
don't,
struggle with
which
this.
makes the burn even worse.
I, on the other hand, do watch a ton of movies. So
I don't know how. Guys, this man, he's got this going on where we make a podcast and we also write a show. He has a regular person job. He has kids, a family, supposedly other people who care about him. I don't know when
supposedly.
he's watching all of this content.
I've also wondered this question because I feel like I never have time to do anything, but yet I somehow manage to still see like everything. I mean, one of the
Pushing
reasons
it.
is that I don't sleep much, but
Not
I
healthy.
think the other reason is that I've seen a lot of things in the background or in the past, and I just running off that still. Okay, so
All right. Here we
this is
go.
again, this is about AI in film, and we'll see how we do on this. So, question number one: who directed the movie The Creator? Now, I have not seen this movie, but our choices are Gareth
I've
Edwards,
never even heard
Garth
of it.
Davis, or Gareth Evans. I have heard of it, but all
Gareth,
these names are
Garth,
vague.
or Gareth?
Yeah. I would guess just by having two Gareths that Gareth is the correct first name, but I don't know if it's
Yeah.
Edwards or Evans.
See, but that's how it's gonna get you. That it's actually
Yeah.
Garth Davis. Although Garth doesn't really
Yeah.
sound like a name to me. Garth. Garth
You're obviously
Davis.
not familiar with Wayne's World then, huh?
I'm not.
Party on
But
Wayne, party
also,
on
isn't
Garth.
Wayne's World a comedy?
It is a comedy, yeah. It was this
There
SNL
you
bit
go.
that they turned into a full-length movie.
There
Actually,
you
it had two
go.
movies. And my first acting gig was in a film that starred somebody who was in the Wayne's World movie. And I don't remember what character
Really?
he played. It wasn't Mike Myers or Dana Carvey who played the leads in Wayne's World. I forget what character he played, but he was something in I think Wayne's World 2. He was one of the characters in that, and he was the lead of the movie that I did my first project or the first film I ever did. It is
Interesting.
yeah. Anyway, so what's your guess for who directed The Creator?
Gareth E.
Gareth E. Okay, taking the safe bet there. I'm gonna go Gareth Edwards because I feel like that rings better than Gareth Evans.
Watch it be
Are you
Garth.
you were going Garth?
I'm not, but watch it be Garth. Oh, it
Oh, it was
okay.
Gareth
You were
Evans. I
right.
I was right.
How about that?
And as I've said many times before, I'm always right, except for when I'm wrong. I'm always right.
This actually is. This one feels like it might actually be trivia because this feels like obscure knowledge.
Mhm. We'll see. All right. So question number 2 is what is the villainous rogue AI in Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning called? I do know this
I've
one.
never seen a single Mission Impossible movie.
No, they're
No,
pretty
not
good.
one.
I don't know if you know
I
this,
know
but
the I know the famous scene where he like repels from the thing or whatever, and he's
from the
like,
ceiling,
"Whoa."
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um.
interesting fact about Mission Impossible movies. The last few, at least, have been done in a way where they start off by figuring out what incredible set piece they want to do. Because Tom Cruise does some unbelievably complicated and crazy death-defying stunt in all of these. So they figure out
Right.
first what is the crazy stunt that they want to do, figure out how to make it work so Tom Cruise can do it, and then they work backwards to build a movie around it, which sounds like really backward, like really crazy and like it wouldn't work. But these movies have been consistently good for a while. I've not seen the most recent one yet, but
I feel like
outside of that one,
you're
I don't have
I
complaints
feel
really.
like you're the only one with that opinion because I think that a lot of people are in agreement that the first Mission Impossible movie is a good movie, but all of the ones after that, I get
No,
like Avatar
no,
reactions where it's like the
people don't like
story's not
two.
good.
People don't like two, but everything after two has been well received. The first one is definitely different from all the others. The first one is a very traditional, like espionage spy thriller, where after that they take a hard pivot to being more action based. Number
Hmm,
two is a John Woo film, and it feels like a John Woo film. I don't hate number two, but it definitely feels way different than all of the other ones, and not in the same
sure.
way of the original. But they're really
Hmm.
good, and they've had amazing performances by oh, what's his name?
Tom
Oh,
Cruise.
the not Tom Cruise. I mean, he's been good in those too, but
Oh, you didn't like Tom Cruise performance in Mission Impossible?
no, I did like him. What's that actor? Philip Seymour Hoffman. He's in either three or four, and
Oh,
he's oh my gosh,
that
he
guy's
is
a
like
legend.
in that movie in particular, he is bone chillingly evil. It is he's
Yeah.
phenomenal. But anyway,
No,
what's your
I
guess for
he
the
I
villainous rogue AI in this movie?
I man, I haven't seen any of them. So I don't know. The entity. That sounds scary.
The entity does sound scary, and I can tell you, I think Chimera is in one of the movies, but it's a different thing. It's like a disease. I believe it's actually the Syndicate. Or no,
I could
actually, maybe it is
believe
the
that.
entity. Yeah, you're
Hey,
right.
I
It's the
was
entity.
right.
I think the Syndicate is actually from a different action movie, maybe John Wick.
That sounds like it's from like Street Fighter or something because the Syndicate
Hmm,
has a very like mafia feeling
it does.
vibe.
Like yeah, I can see that. Number three. What decade did 2001: A Space Odyssey come out?
What decade? Oh, we've talked about this in a prior episode. I think
We
we said
have.
it was the 70s.
We either said it was the 60s or the 70s, and I don't remember which. I definitely know it's not the 80s.
Yeah, that's too recent.
I'm thinking 60s, but I'll go with your answer of 70s. Oh, it was
Ah,
60s.
it was the 60s. Jason was right.
All right. Who voices the AI virtual assistant in that Theodore, played by Joaquin Phoenix, falls in love with in the movie Her? Have
I
you seen
don't
this
know,
movie?
man. I haven't seen. No, of course not.
I saw this movie. I remember when it came out, people were talking about it.
Is it good?
Uh, it's it's good, not great. It is interesting. But I reckon you can reckon if you've seen the movie, you know exactly who's playing the AI. It definitely sounds like her.
I feel like it's Jennifer Lawrence, but I can, for some reason, I'm hearing like a Scarlett Johansson voice in my head. So
Okay.
maybe it's Scarlett Johansson.
So which one do you want to go with?
I'll go Scarlett Johansson because that's like I don't know why, but I just hear like a
It's a good
very
choice. It definitely is
AI.
her. Yeah,
Okay,
100%. Good call. All right. Number next. What country is Chappie set in? Canada,
Chappie.
South Africa, or Australia?
I don't know what Chappie is. Is that another movie?
It is another movie. It's made, I believe, by the guy who did District 9.
Okay.
If you've seen District 9, have you seen that?
Nope.
Watch District 9. It is fantastic. Chappie
All
had a
right.
lot of potential. It was not as good as District 9 though. But District 9 I think you would I
What
think you
is
would
it? Is it
appreciate.
like a dystopian hellscape future or something like that?
So it is using uh, there's like a third world country that
Third
is
world
using like
country. So the
police.
answer is South Africa. You guys see what I
Oh,
did there? I was just fishing for the answer.
look at that. Good call. But it's these robots that are used to police people and one of them starts to grow a conscious kind of.
Hmm. Interesting.
All right. Number
I should
next.
see
What
Megan. Megan has been apparently pretty well received.
I like the first one. I have not seen the second one yet, but I've heard it's not as good.
Hmm.
So which of these songs does AI doll Megan sing in the movie of the same name? Is it
Oh,
Titanium
come
by
on.
David Guetta, Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus, or Burn by Ellie Goulding?
This is a horror film, right?
Yes,
So I feel like if they did it, if they slowed it down, Party in the USA. I mean, like if you slow down anything, it sounds like very creepy and horror-esque.
that's true.
But I feel like Party in the USA would be very like a juxtaposed choice because Party in the USA is decidedly not a like horror thing. But I could also see it being Titanium.
Okay. What do you want to go with?
I'm gonna stick with Party in the USA, but well, I won't be upset if it ends up being Titanium.
Well, you won't be upset then because it is in fact Titanium. I
It
knew
is
that one.
Titanium.
I remember that moment. It's a good movie. Well, decent movie. This next one is pretty good. Ex Machina. I don't know if you've seen this, but this was good too. So, what is the name of the
No.
test being administered to robot Ava, played by Alicia Vikander in Ex
It's not
Machina?
just called the test.
I don't know. I guess not. It's either called the Milgram test, the Lovelace test, or the Turing test.
It's got to be the Turing test because the whole idea behind an AI is that it's a more advanced computer. So it's got to be the
Yeah.
Turing test because the Turing machine was the first computer.
Yeah, and Turing test is like an actual thing. There's actually even I played a video game called the Turing test too, which was a lot of fun. But it's the same kind of thing where it's testing to see if you're real. So I'm guessing that
Mm,
that's what it was.
yeah, that's got to be it.
There we go. Look at that. We're on fire, Morgan. All right.
Well, maybe
iRobot
you
is
are,
based
but I've
on a
gotten like
book
half of
by
these
which of
wrong.
these? iRobot is based on a book by which of these writers? Michael Crichton, Isaac Asimov, or Philip K. Dick?
Oh man, I don't think it's Michael Crichton because isn't that the person who wrote Jurassic Park?
It is.
Yeah, so I don't think it's him. It might be, I don't know, but I know him as the author of Jurassic Park. So I'm gonna say Isaac Asimov.
There was a time where I think I knew this legitimately. I don't recall what the answer is, but I do think it's Michael Crichton because Michael Crichton was a big writer for a while. He had a lot of popular, um, like thriller novels, whether it be Jurassic Park
I
or The
mean, like
Strain or
I would
a
believe
couple
it.
other things.
He
Or
he writes like science fiction, so I would believe it.
all right, we'll go with your answer and see how it goes. Oh, you were right.
Ah, look at that. I was
Look at
right.
that. Nice. All right. So now we have a visual question. This is a still from which of the following movies? Now, for anybody who's listening to this on the audio only, I don't know how you're going
Wait,
to
wait,
be able
wait.
to participate
I
from
want to
home.
describe it badly. I want I want to do a
Okay,
poor
please do.
description of this picture. So it's a human. He's wearing a shirt.
Okay.
He has it's a he beard in front of a what looks to be a refrigerator and a window.
You're basically describing me not out like not while we're recording the podcast at any given point in the day. That
So
was an awful
clearly,
description, yeah.
based on that description, clearly the answer is transcendence.
Your guess is as good as mine because I know it's not Prometheus. The choices are Prometheus, Transcendence, or Upgrade. It is definitely not Prometheus because I know that takes place in space, and I've seen that movie. I've not seen the other two. So let's go Transcendence. Oh, it was Upgrade.
Good. I've never seen any of those movies, by the way. So,
All right. Number next. How many years after Blade Runner did the sequel Blade Runner 2049 come out? Was it 35,
um,
30, or 32?
how many years? Well,
Yeah, because there was a
49,
long gap in between
obviously.
those. No, no, no. Not how many years canonically, like in actual real life time.
When did Blade Runner come out?
Like the 80s?
Okay. And Blade Runner 2049 is pretty recent, isn't it? So I'm gonna
It's
say
been the last few
35.
years. So, all right, you're going 35. I'm gonna go 32. Watch it be 30 and we're both wrong. Oh, good job,
Oh,
Morgan. You
35.
got that one.
It was a
And
pretty
I think
recent
that was
movie, I
the
thought.
end of that was it. We got 8 out of 10 right. Look at us.
Hey, how about that?
Yeah.
Well,
All
it's a
right.
little bit more than that because I think there was a couple of instances where you went with my answer, but you were actually right. So,
But I think there was also ones where I was wrong and you were right. So I think collectively 8 out of 10 is probably fair.
solid.
But hey, man, it wins a win. Let's take the
A
win.
win is a win. All
So
right.
to recap this
Well,
episode,
recap,
uh, Disney,
rewind.
Disney doing some shenanigans with OpenAI. We don't care for it. Another app is being developed with the ability to create your own shows. I'm very
I
much
think it's
against it. Morgan
so
seems oddly okay
I
with
think
it.
it I think it's so wild. I'm not okay with it. I'm just saying like I get the niche that it's filling. Like cuz the whole thing with making a product is identifying a want that consumers have and filling that want. So this clearly fills that want. I think the fact that they have the audacity to call it showrunner is wild.
I mean, the title makes sense. You're making your own shows, so I get why they named it that.
I get it. I get it. It's just
I
I think
just
it's such it that's a pretty audacious move.
I yeah, I don't know. I don't like where it's heading. Yeah, I think we're probably going to be seeing more of that soon because it's got big backers now and it's going to keep pushing forward and like I said before and I think if anybody listening to this takes one thing away from this episode is start talking about the solutions now. Start complaining about, the fakeness of AI online. Send your congressman something. That's the only way we can really trigger change in this situation. Or coordinate an effort to bombard one of these things all at one time, which seems a lot more difficult to do and a little
I
bit
think
riskier,
we
but
are unfortunately in the minority of people, Jason. Me more so
I
than
don't think
you,
so.
considering I have a stronger stance on it, but
I have faith in people that as I think people are rejecting AI. I really do. I think that it is not. I think that it is still getting pushed, but I think that most people are rejecting it as they learn more about it because I think there's a difference between seeing a goofy video on Instagram and going ha 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 and not realizing it's AI versus actually understanding it. And even YouTube. YouTube is starting to take down channels that are just all AI based, right? So I do think that there is
maybe that's what they say, but I'm not seeing an actual change in the landscape to
yet
YouTube. So
because they just
I think
announced
it's
it not
more
so
of a
long ago.
publicity statement than anything else.
I mean, even if that's the case, I feel like that's still a step in the right direction.
If no action is taken, you think that just quelling the masses is a step in the right direction?
I
I think that that is very Orwellian of you and is definitely not a step in the
I
right direction.
I think it's a step in the right direction because if they are still publicly saying that that's what they're going to do, other companies will go, "Whoa, is YouTube doing anti
No, I think
AI
companies are going to
stuff?"
wait to see if they actually do anything, and you'll just end up in a place where you're just pacifying the people. And as long as the people like sort of buy the lie, then you're stuck in the same place. And that's why I
I
say
know.
like that feels very Orwellian because YouTube has a lot of control and
Sure.
they're making what I believe to be empty promises. And unless we call them on it, we are screwed. So, but
Right.
no one's going
So
to call them on it.
people will. The internet has to jump in comments of things that they know are AI, and people were giving backlash to Coca-Cola for their Coke ad. They gave backlash to Marvel when they did their Secret Invasions beginning. There are signs of hope. There are people that don't like this AI push, and I think that companies are still pushing it because they think it's the thing that they need to jump on, so this way they don't miss out. But I am hopeful that it will be a bubble, and that bubble will eventually burst.
We will find out. Let us know what your thoughts are on in the comments. But
Yep.
I think that's all we got for you on this
Yep, follow us on
very
YouTube
convoluted
if you're
episode.
listening to this on the social. Follow us on YouTube if you're listening to this on a podcast platform. If you are already on YouTube, we're also on your favorite podcast platform. So Spotify, Amazon Music, all of them, Pandora, you name it, we're probably on it. Go find us, subscribe, tell a friend. Helps us out, and we
Yeah.
appreciate it.
But that is a wrap on this week's episode of the cast Backstage Banter. Until next time, keep the reel rolling, and we will catch you in the next scene.
Hashtag made by humans. Made by humans. Made by humans.
Ain't you or
We were
ain't
supposed to
you?
do there we go.
We
We
were,
said we were going to do robots, and he forgot. It was his idea, and he
oh
forgot.
no.